In WWE, some nights are about glory, but others are about survival. For Liv Morgan, this night was neither. This was a nightmare, because when Rhea Ripley stepped into that ring, she didn't just want the women's championship. She wanted to destroy the champion who held it. Liv Morgan entered the arena with her signature smile, championship over her shoulder, soaking in the cheers. But across the backstage hallway, Rhea Ripley was watching, her eyes cold, her jaw tight. This wasn't just a title match for her. This was a statement. Liv thought she was walking into a wrestling match, but she was walking into a war. From the very first lockup, Rhea's dominance was undeniable. She threw Liv into the corner like a rag doll, crushing her with brutal shoulder thrusts. A massive clothesline flipped Liv inside out, the crowd gasping at the sheer impact. "This isn't a match," the commentator shouted. "This is a mauling." Every spark of resistance Liv Morgan tried to muster was snuffed out with ruthless precision. A crushing, skull-rattling headbutt sent her reeling. Moments later, a merciless backbreaker folded her in half, leaving her writhing and clutching at her spine. Rhea didn't stop. She dragged Liv across the ring like a predator toying with prey, the jeers and gasps of the crowd echoing around them. With a violent swing, she smashed Liv's face into the cold, unyielding steel of the turnbuckle. The thud echoed, followed by the roar of the nightmare as she hoisted Liv high into the air. And then, the impact. A devastating powerbomb that shook the ring to its core. Liv's body hit the mat with a sickening force, her chest rising and falling in shallow breaths. The arena was stunned into near silence. This wasn't just Rhea Ripley being dominant. This was Rhea Ripley unleashed. A side of her so aggressive, so merciless, that even her biggest fans sat frozen, realizing they were witnessing something far more dangerous than they had ever imagined. Liv, barely able to stand, summoned every last ounce of strength she had left and launched herself into one final, desperate attempt at her signature oblivion. But before she could even complete the move, Rhea's raw power took over. In a flash, Rhea caught her midair, her hands locking around Liv with unshakable force. With a ruthless twist, she spun her around like a ragdoll and drove her down into the mat with a bone-shaking riptide. The referee's hand struck the canvas. 1, 2, 3. The sound echoing through the stunned arena. The bell rang, signaling the end, but for Rhea Ripley, the fight wasn't over. She stood tall, looming over Liv's broken body, her piercing glare fixed on the fallen champion as the crowd showered her with boos. Liv lay motionless on the mat, every breath heavy, her chest rising and falling as tears began to well in her eyes. Her face told the story of a woman who had just endured a merciless beating, the sting of defeat settling in with every passing second, the harsh reality of losing her title pressing down as painfully as the bruises covering her body. As Rhea Ripley hoisted the championship high above her head, the bright arena lights caught the gleam of gold, making the belt shine like a symbol of dominance. The crowd roared with a mixture of awe, hatred, and shock, the noise swelling around her like a wave. But while all eyes were on the victorious nightmare, the cameras shifted to the side of the ring, and there, slowly, painfully, Liv Morgan was rolling toward the apron. Every movement looked labored, as if her body was made of lead after the punishment she'd endured. She reached the ropes and used them to pull herself halfway up, her arm trembling from the effort. With her free hand, she wiped at her face, but it was no use. The tears kept coming. Her eyes were bloodshot and red, a raw reflection of the battle she had just fought and lost. Her lip quivered uncontrollably, betraying emotions she was trying so hard to keep in check in front of the thousands watching live and the millions watching at home. This wasn't the cocky, smiling Liv Morgan who walked into the match with a championship on her shoulder. This was a woman broken down to her core. Her chest heaved as she took in the moment, the reality crashing down on her. Not only had she been outpowered and outwrestled, But she had given absolutely everything in that ring, and it still hadn't been enough to survive the storm that was Rhea Ripley. The crowd's divided reactions swirled in the background, but for Liv, the world felt silent except for the pounding in her ears. Every bruise, every ache, every gasp of breath was a reminder of the beating she'd taken. She glanced up just in time to see Rhea standing tall in the center of the ring, the championship glistening above her head, and the sight was like a dagger through the heart. Her fingers gripped the apron, as if holding on to the last shreds of her strength and pride. The camera lingered on her face, catching the shine of her tears under the lights. Not just the tears of physical pain, but the heartbreak of a champion who had poured her soul into the fight only to watch it slip away. In that moment, it became painfully clear. Liv Morgan hadn't just lost her title that night. She had lost a piece of herself that she might never get back. Some champions fall with grace, others fall in pieces. And on that night, Rhea Ripley proved that inside the squared circle, she's not just a wrestler, she's a predator. And Liv Morgan? She was the prey.